I've never met my dad before, so everything I know is from my mom's side.
Well,
And so that's a story in itself, right?
right.
But my grandmother was training to be a nun at a nunnery. I mean, that went well, right? I'm here. So, and my grandfather was like a badass biker dude. And this is like the 60s, I think.
Yo.
So,
And where was this? Do you know what this is? Or
I want to say Indiana?
Indiana?
Yeah, I know that's kind of where
Can you toss me a
line
pin,
comes
sir?
from, but I don't know for sure. But my grandfather held the world record for fastest quarter mile on a 300cc motorcycle. And so he was like this badass biker dude. Like he had this beard. Like everyone knew him by his beard. He was a short guy, but his beard was very long. Like, stereotypical like
That's awesome.
biker dude. So I mean, I guess his sauce was too much, and my grandma, I mean, gave up her religion for him, right? So she left the nunnery, and they popped out 4 kids, and then he bounced. So she was left with 4 kids. They moved to California.
Whoa.
Yeah, lived in Hacienda Heights, and they were dirt poor, like bugs everywhere, and they were eating animal food, and yeah, a pretty bad situation for them.
Whoa.
Yeah, so that's how my mom grew up. Her whole life, like just like super dirt poor. They didn't have anything. Yeah.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yep. And then
Have you were you able to meet your grandmother?
Yeah, she was a big part of my life until she died when I was 14. She was like a second mom because I didn't have like a dad in the picture
Sure.
for the first 4 years of my life until my mom met my stepdad, which I consider my real dad. Props to him. He's a great guy.
What type of personality was your grandmother? How can you kind of explain like what it's like to be around her?
She's a grandmother. She's a deep, loving person. She was really spiritual, not in the Catholic way that she was brought up, but
Sure.
in like this voodoo medium, let me talk to spirits kind of way.
Yo, that's awesome.
So growing up, I had a lot of conversations. I was like grandma's boy, like totally, because my mom was working and my grandma would take care of me, and so she would tell me all these wild things about like spirit guides and astrology and just weird stuff, right? Not that astrology is weird. I mean, like
No, I get
a
it.
lot
But
of
you're a
people-
kid. You're like,
Yeah. No, I ate it all up as a kid.
Right,
I'm
right.
like, oh, the grass is talking to me.
that's awesome.
Yeah, but yeah. So I think that that relationship really instilled into me like this question of like, what is this world? What is the meaning of life? Like, is there a God? Like, what's going on here? Like, what happens after you die? And like, what happens after you die? That question just like over and over again. I thought about it every single day growing up. Like, I mean, I don't think about it so much anymore.
Sure.
But when I was a kid, like, I just, I came to this conclusion that it's just eternal blackness, just darkness, just nothing. And I read books as a kid. I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. I was like the ultimate loser, just this fat kid with spiky hair who was like a social outcast. Actually, the first person I ever met who was my age was Emilio.
Really?
Yeah, Emilio and Michael. I met them both at the same time. Michael was a year older. It was at daycare. I was like 5, and it was right before kindergarten started. And
Wait, so your early childhood was just around family, or was it just?
yeah, animals and family.
Whoa.
I mean, basically, so yeah, I guess let's rewind a little bit. My mom met my stepdad when I was 4, and then they got married like immediately. And then they moved in together. We moved to Fontana from Hacienda Heights. But yeah, before that, it was just like, the dogs. There's the neighborhood cat, the neighbors. I don't remember really much of all that.
Of course, yeah.
3, 4.
Yeah, right.
I do actually have a lot of memories from that time.
That's surprising. I can't remember anything.
I think it was because my environment drastically changed. when I was 4.5 when we moved in. So I like all the memories of that old house I know for certain was before that age, and there's like quite a few of them. Animals. I mean, I keep mentioning animals because like those were my friends, you know. But
It's interesting knowing you now, and we'll get into that. But like how in tune you are with animals, like just like it's really interesting. Cats in terms of like I just met with him just yesterday. We were just with this dog. The dog came sniffed me. He was like, I don't like you, and it just went just straight towards you. And Lily would just like just engulfed. Like it's something that's really cool. That's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I can talk to animals a lot better than I can talk to humans. I don't know. But yeah, that was kind of like who I was growing up. This awkward kid who like didn't really talk to anybody. I just read books.
And where do you get these books? Is just the books that laying around at your grandma's house, or?
Okay, well, I started reading like when I was 5, 6 at school.
So this is where you transitioned.
Yeah, I picked it up pretty quickly. I guess mainly because people didn't want to hang out with me. I was just really annoying. I was the ADHD kid.
Sure.
But I sure could focus on books, and that was like my world, and that was my world for many years.
Your mother, you mentioned now she kind of has a new relationship. Do you found that as exciting, or were you kind of like?
So I knew his name was Victor, but I insisted on calling him Dictor. And I don't know when that stopped.
Right.
But, and I don't know when I started calling him Dad, but eventually I just started calling him Dad. And I know it was really hard for him because my mom was and is super overprotective. So whenever it was his turn to step in for like discipline, I know my mom was always in the corner. She coddled me, so he wasn't able to raise me the way that he wanted to raise me, and I think that kind of caused like a kind of some distance between us when I was a kid. Like now we're cool, but when I was a kid, like I never understood why. I was always very scared of him, and I think I don't want to blame my mom for that. I know she was just trying to do her best, but I think that kind of caused that, but it is what it is.
But at least now you're in a kind of a stable home in a way, right? You have friends. You're starting to make friends with.
Oh, you mean like
after you transitioned? Yeah. When you got to Fontana.
Well, I mean, I moved there when I was 4.5, right?
Right.
Yeah. So
daycare. Now you're with daycare.
So they put me in a daycare, and I met Emilio and Michael, and on the first day, they punked me, and I cried. It was my first exposure to Pokemon, and they were trading Pokemon cards, and I was like, wow, that's so cool. What are these things? And they were like, oh, well, here, you can have some. And I was like, wow, these kids are giving me Pokemon cards. So they gave me like, I don't know, 3 or 4 Pokemon cards, and they were like monster cards, and I was like, well, let's trade. And so they traded me, but they traded me energies. So I was, at the end of the day, I was left with like 3 fire energies, and like they're like, haha, you can't do anything now because you only have energies, you don't even have any Pokemon. And I was like, oh, like that's shitty. And I started crying.
Damn.
And I was like, man, kids are mean. And yeah, so that caused my social awkwardness entirely. It's all Emilio Geraldo's fault.
Shout out to Emilio.
Shout out to Emilio, man. The OG MVP, always like the best at everything.
And so I guess you're in the books now. You kind of retreat to the books.
Yeah. So I dove into the books and Harry Potter and but I did find my grandma's stash of romantic books. So for a while there, I was just reading these like books about these beautiful firemen from a housewife's perspective. So like all these romantic stories, these wild romantic stories, and I guess I was like I became a bit of a I guess I fantasized about like what it would be like to be in a relationship.
Yeah.
So I always had a girl that I liked. And I remember all of them growing up.
Wait. So obviously you're not. We're not. You're not. I mean, okay. This is what I'm really curious about because you're in Heritage, right? Am I right?
Yeah, I'm in Heritage.
Okay, so you first go to elementary school in East Heritage.
East Heritage.
And most people don't understand this. I know some people do in like certain countries, different states, but like in this city, in this vicinity specifically, the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school are in literally like 2-3 miles from each other. Mm-hmm. Like you're with the same people. Your whole like adolescent life is not like, oh, I'm with my class and some people move in.
So you can kind of imagine how kind of that sucked for me, right? As someone who had no friends,
right,
and who was kind of a social outcast that stuck with me for a really long time,
right.
And so I had to do something to change that, right? So I remember I was 10 years old and I heard the band. No, actually, I was younger. 10 is when I joined band, right? But I guess I was like, I don't know, probably first grade or something. And we watched the band concert because they performed for the school. And I was like, that was my first time listening to live music. And I was like, as a kid, I was always into like big band music.
Yeah.
My grandma would play her tunes and like I dug them. But it was my first time listening to live music. And I just remember the massive chills I got as like I watched these 10-year-olds play music, you know? And I was like, yo, like, I'm going to do that. Like, that's the coolest thing I ever heard of. And what, they go on field trips that only they can go on? Like, hell yeah. So I joined band. I wanted to play the sax, but it was like $15 more a month to rent. So my mom was like, no, you're getting the trombone. So I was a tromboner. Yeah. I played trombone in 5th grade, and then they put me on tuba in 6th grade. So I was this fat social outcast kid with spiky hair who didn't talk to anyone and played the tuba.
And a romanticist a little bit too.
Yeah, for sure.
You wanted the sax though. The sax would have. Oh
yeah. If I just had the sax,
the sax would have been it right there.
Yeah, for sure.
You would have been all the way there.
You know, I want a sax really badly. Like, those are the coolest thing.
So music.
Yeah. So then I picked up the guitar when I was 11, or maybe I was 10 or 11. And
I found that's like one of the most interesting combinations, right? A reader, but also, someone who's a little bit shy, right? Playing music, like that seems like a very outwardly like.
So I think that music is the very best outlet for an introvert because they don't have to talk. You know, I mean, it's kind of like painting, you know?
Right, yeah.
They can play their instrument and they don't have to worry about like social nuances and like what other people are thinking about them. I mean, I guess, yeah, like, am I playing good? But if you're a musician, you know you're good.
Right.
But yeah, the nerves. I mean, there definitely are nerves. Like, I played live and the nerves still get to me. You know?
Sure.
But I don't know. It gives you something to have pride in about yourself. And so when I picked up the guitar, that changed my entire life, right? Because I was like, you know what? I'm metal. So I'm this 11-year-old, and I'm like, I'm metal. And so I went through. So 6th grade was the worst year of my life. I went to HIS, Heritage Intermediate School, and I was like, okay, this year it's gonna be different for me. A new school, new me. You know, people are gonna like me, and they didn't. I don't know. I probably tried too hard or something, but I don't know. Like, they all made fun of me because I was fat. Like, I remember that they were like, "Oh, you're fat," and I'm like, "I'm not fat. My mom says I'm not fat," right? And then there was this one day, because my mom was always like telling me I wasn't fat, but I was a fat kid, you know, like. So I was like, I called my mom into my room, and I wasn't wearing a shirt, and like my rolls are right here, right? And I'm like grabbing my rolls, and I'm like, "Mom, look at these. Are you gonna tell me I'm not fat? Everyone else tells me I'm fat, but you." And she finally was like, "Yeah, you're fat." So
that's a key thing here from like when you started to now, like your waist, like kind of a big thing on your mind. But you also have like this such passion in music. You also have like this. Do you have any brothers or sisters?
Yeah, I have a brother and a sister.
And what was your kind of relationship? Were they mean too? Like, did you have much?
So
you know,
my brother is 5 years younger than me,
Oh,
And my
okay.
sister is 10 years younger than me. So
Whoa.
at this point in my life, 10, 11, my sister wasn't even there. And my brother was just, a little kid.
Sure.
So, I mean, yeah, I didn't really have too much.
It was just
interaction with
you.
them. It was, yeah, basically just me. But it gets better for sure. This is like my redemption arc, right? And
No, this is life, right?
so,
Yeah.
So at the end of 6th grade, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna change over the summer. I'm gonna devote my summer to changing. So that summer, I was like doing light workouts, and my mom put me on a low carb diet, and I lost a lot of weight. I mean, maybe not a lot, but enough that it changed my self image, right? I changed my entire wardrobe. It was all black, all metal shirts.
Yo.
I got glasses, black shoes. So I show up on the first day of 7th grade. I'm wearing a black Metallica Kill 'Em All shirt and black ripped pants, black shoes, and I have a chain. So I'm like, and I'm wearing glasses. I'm wearing sunglasses. And so like I show up like all blacked out like a freaking school shooter. But I thought I was so cool, right? And I went through the day and like I knew at the time like people don't like me because I'm annoying, right?
Sure.
Because I talk too much. So I was just quiet. The whole day I was just like in the back of the room, like total school shooter. just like quiet. But I was trying to be cool, right? I was trying to be like that cool dark guy in the back. And then
Yo.
and then I decided to quit band because band wasn't cool. I didn't want to be a band geek. So instead I was a drama nerd. So I joined drama. Yeah. So and then this one girl changed my life. Jessica Barone.
Jessica Barone? I don't know if I know
You
her.
probably don't, but she drama was the last class of the day, right? And so that whole entire day, no one acknowledged me. But that class, like the class started, and she looked at me, and like I noticed this girl was like staring at me, and like I kind of like looked at her, and she was like, "Randy Quinn?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Oh my God, you look so different." And she came and she hugged me. And I was like, I'm this, 12-year-old, and I just got a hug, my first hug. And I'm like, oh my God. And so it was love at
Your
first sight.
first hug?
My first hug.
What?
Yeah,
At 12?
Yeah.
No, man, that's like you are really lit. Like you were talking about being in a position like, man, just trying to find you finally found some like confirmation essentially of like
I
of
found,
you.
Well, it made me feel that whole summer of trying to change was worth it, right? And so like I mean, so that's not to say I didn't have friends. Right?
Sure. Yeah, of course.
Emilio was always there. He was my best friend, right? Growing up, Michael and Emilio, and they were there. But
A hug from a girl though is
hug from a
different.
girl, that was the
That's
biggest.
different, man.
Yeah, that was big stuff for me. And so, yeah, I went home. I was on cloud 9, and that whole entire year was really, really good. I really came out of my box. We did this like skit because we were in drama, right?
Yeah.
We did skits.
Yeah.
I was Prince Charming and she was Cinderella, and then we did a skit where like I was Romeo and she was Juliet.
Yo.
And
You get now these books, right?
Yeah.
Obviously not like
Yeah.
not as dramatic.
yeah, no, it never culminated into anything. Like
Sure.
Jessica Brown ended up leaving. She went to another school.
Right. But like just now you're the firefighter. Like, not like, okay, hold on. Hey, listen, look. No, wait. Not like, you know what I mean? But you know what I mean, right? Like
Yeah,
you're the important guy now. Like you have leveled, like literally went from 0 to 100 real quick. And that's awesome.
Yeah, so that year I got a lot of friends. And,
Wow.
then the next year I had my first kiss.
Wow.
And then I was like, wow, like, okay, well, like, I guess, like, mom was always right. I do have something. Like, I am a handsome young boy. And so I started growing my hair out and like a true metalhead, right?
Yeah.
I was just like, okay, this metal thing is working for me, right? So I just wanted to embody it completely and 100%. And I started a band and yeah, and then that became my identity, right? And like slowly but surely, I started getting more and more into the music, and But I mean, the girls were always there, like, you know, because like, what? I mean, why do most boys pick up the guitar? You know?
Right. Yo, what do you mean? This is the dream.
Chicks, right?
Yeah. And you're doing this in middle school. You're like high school. Oh my God, I'm about to slay.
Yeah. Well, you know, because I had been practicing for a long time. I was damn good at the guitar.
Right.
Like at this point in my life, you know, at 13, 14 years old, I was a damn prodigy. Like I was really good for my age. And I haven't gotten any better since. But that's not to say I'm bad. I'm probably pretty bad, but I don't know. But yeah, all the practicing, all the you know, the light workouts and the eating right, and the changing, and you know, like it all worked. And so my whole life just flip flopped at that point, and I started getting friends, and you know, but I knew what it was like to be the loner. Right?
Yeah.
So I never you know, left out the quiet kid. So
I was gonna ask you that.
I feel like I never had a clique in school. I had like I was like everyone's friend, kind of. But at the same time, I spread myself so thin that I didn't really get to know anybody like really deeply, except you know, my girlfriend, which I got, you know, when I was 14 and a half, 15.
14 and a half.
15, yeah. Actually, I think I was 15. Was I 15? I don't know. It was the end of freshman year. And that's when I met Lorena, because she was coming in as a freshman when I was a sophomore, and Daniel Lynch, you know, which is a big part of my life. You know, I met Daniel when I was 14, and he it was funny because he had a phone case. You know, we all had flip phones at the time. And he had a Metallica phone case, and I was like, yeah, Metallica. And he's like, you like Metallica? And I was like, yeah. And you know, best friends.
Yeah.
From that point on, we started a band together, and you know, he's from that point on, he was a big part of my life, and has since been a big part of my life.